Are you waiting for the perfect moment to start living your best life? Or maybe you're putting off happiness, thinking it'll come once you've hit that next milestone, retirement, weight loss, or financial success. What if I told you that all the time you've spent waiting could be the very thing keeping you from experiencing true joy and fulfillment? In this video, I'm sharing the hard-earned wisdom I've gathered over 75+ years of life. If I could go back and sit down with my younger self, the one at 50, 60, or even 65, I'd have so much to say. From the mistakes I made to the truths I learned, I'll tell you exactly what truly matters, what doesn't, and how you can start living fully right now instead of waiting for some distant future. You'll discover why happiness isn't a destination. It's a way of being. Learn how to embrace the ordinary moments that will become the memories you cherish the most. I'll explain why health is the greatest wealth and why it's never too late to invest in yourself, no matter your age. Plus, I'll show you why your relationships are far more important than the titles or achievements you think define you. By the end of this video, you'll have a fresh perspective on aging, relationships, and living with purpose. You'll understand that it's never too late to start something new, to forgive, to let go of things you can't control, and to create a life full of love and joy. So stick with me. This isn't just a lesson about aging. It's about truly living. If you're ready to stop waiting and start living fully, keep watching. Your best life starts right now. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. 1. Happiness was never waiting somewhere ahead. It was here all along. For the longest time, I lived under the illusion that happiness was some distant treasure, always just beyond my grasp. I convinced myself that it was something I had to chase, something I would earn after reaching a certain point in life. I thought happiness lived in my next achievement, in that future version of myself who would be better, thinner, wealthier, more accomplished. I was always waiting for that perfect moment, telling myself, I'll be happy when I retire, when I lose those last few pounds, when my children are settled, when the house is finally paid off, when I have more time, more money, more certainty. Every milestone seemed like it held the key to my happiness. But, looking back, I realized with profound clarity how wrong I was. Happiness wasn't waiting for me somewhere down the road. It was here all along, patiently waiting to be noticed. Growing up, we're taught that life is a race toward the next thing. We're told that contentment is a prize we'll get when we reach that elusive someday. The truth, however, is that every time we achieve what we thought would bring us joy, we only push the goalpost further. We celebrate for a fleeting moment, but then, almost instinctively, we set our sights on something else. We say, just one more step, just one more thing, and then I'll feel at peace. And so we march on, always striving, always looking to the future, thinking that happiness is a destination we have to arrive at. But here's the painful truth I've come to understand. Happiness isn't in that next promotion or the 5 pounds you hope to lose. It's not in that dream house you're working so hard to afford or that vacation you've been planning for years. Happiness is not buried in some idealized version of yourself that you think will be better than who you are now. No, happiness is found in the simple, everyday moments. Those quiet, unnoticed parts of life that we rush past because we're too busy striving for something else. It's in the soft light of a quiet morning as it spills through your window while you sip your coffee. It's in the tight embrace of a grandchild, the laughter that fills the room when you reconnect with an old friend. It's in the peaceful rustling of the wind through the trees on a summer evening, in the comforting warmth of the first bite of a homemade meal, in the joy that bubbles up when your favorite song starts playing on the radio. I've met people who spent their whole lives working towards some grand vision of success, only to reach it and realize that they were still searching for something they couldn't define. And I've met others with very little, no grand achievements, no wealth, no extraordinary accomplishments, who radiate a quiet, powerful joy. They understood something that most of us take a lifetime to learn. Happiness isn't a destination. It's a way of being. I remember a conversation with an old friend, a man in his late 80s, who shared with me a piece of wisdom that shook me to my core. He said, when I was younger, I always thought happiness was something I had to chase, but the older I got, the more I realized I was stepping over it every single day. I had it all along. I just wasn't paying attention. Those words stuck with me in a way I can't fully explain. They've become a constant reminder that if we're always chasing happiness, we'll never catch it. But if we stop, if we pause and open our eyes to what's right in front of us, we'll see that joy has been here all along, patiently waiting to be noticed. You don't have to wait for retirement, or the perfect body, or for life to somehow fall into place. You don't have to wait for everything to align perfectly. You can choose happiness right now. Not because life is flawless, not because everything is easy or certain, but because you finally realize that happiness wasn't hiding in the future. It was simply waiting for you to notice, right here, in the life you already have. Looking back, I realize how often I neglected the beauty of the present moment, too wrapped up in the belief that happiness was somewhere ahead, somewhere I hadn't yet reached. The truth is, happiness was always here. It's in the little things we take for granted, the people we love, the moments of quiet peace, the simple acts of kindness. And now, I know that the search for happiness, the chase for some distant future, is a fool's errand. It's here. It's now. All we have to do is notice it and open our hearts to it, just as it is. 2. Health is the greatest wealth, and it's never too late to take care of yourself. In our youth, we often move through life with a sense of invincibility, as if our bodies will never betray us. We treat them as if they are indestructible, pushing them to their limits without hesitation. We indulge in every whim, eating foods that don't nourish us, skimping on sleep, and ignoring the subtle cries of our bodies, believing there will always be time to fix it all later. We live with the assumption that health can be put off and that the future will grant us the opportunity to right our wrongs. But, as it always does, later comes much sooner than we expect. One day, perhaps with a sharp, unmistakable jolt, or maybe just a quiet, nagging whisper, our bodies remind us that they've been with us all along, bearing the weight of every decision we've made, good or bad. They hold the record, and they ask us to pay attention, to reckon with how we've treated them. I used to think that health was all about outward appearance, about the number on the scale, about squeezing into jeans from 5 years ago. I was obsessed with the idea that looking good equaled being healthy. Diets, exercise routines, strict rules of discipline, and self-denial, that's what I thought health was. But now, as I grow older and wiser, I see it for what it truly is. So much more than just the numbers or fitting into some ideal. Health is the freedom to live without constant physical pain, the joy of bending down to play with your grandchildren, and feeling your body move without hesitation. It's the joy of taking long walks through the crisp autumn air, feeling the steady beat of your heart and the strength in your legs. It's waking up with energy, not exhaustion. It's not worrying about when your next doctor's appointment is or how many medications you're taking. It's the privilege of living fully, day in and day out, without the weight of your body holding you back. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. I've seen people in their 70s who radiate vitality, full of life, laughter, and purpose. More alive than some I know in their 40s. Yet, I've also met others in their 60s who have already surrendered to the idea that they are past their prime, resigned to the notion that their best years are behind them. The difference between them isn't some fluke of fate or luck. The difference is choice. Our bodies are much like gardens. When we neglect them, weeds of illness and weakness sprout up, our muscles atrophy, our joints grow stiff, and the vibrant energy that once defined us begins to fade. But if we nurture them, even with small, simple daily actions, our bodies remain strong, flexible, and brimming with life. It's the little things, a morning stretch, a healthy meal, a walk around the block. These are investments in your future well-being, gifts to yourself that keep giving long after the effort is made. It doesn't mean the road will always be smooth. Aging is inevitable. Changes will come, no matter how well we care for ourselves. But even in the face of these changes, we have more control over our well-being than we often realize. I once knew a woman in her 80s who took a walk every single day, rain, shine, or snow. She wasn't obsessed with fitness or trying to achieve some unrealistic physical standard. She simply understood something so profound. Movement is life. She told me, if I stop moving, I'll never start again. She had witnessed too many friends lose their mobility, not because they had to, but because they allowed it to slip away, one small moment at a time. And that's the hard truth. We don't lose our strength as we age. We age because we stop using our strength. If I could go back in time, I would tell my younger self to take better care of my body. Not because I wanted to look a certain way, but because I wanted to live a better life. I would remind myself that every choice I made, no matter how small, taking that walk, sleeping an extra hour, choosing wholesome food, was an investment in the future me. And here's the beauty of it all. It's never too late. Our bodies are astonishingly resilient. No matter if you're 30, 60, or 90, it will respond to care. You can rebuild strength in muscles, flexibility in joints, and vitality in your spirit. Even a modest change, adding more vegetables to your meals, walking a little longer, doing a few stretches in the morning, can create a cascade of positive effects that will transform how you feel inside and out every single day. There is a version of you, a version of me even now, that is stronger, healthier, and more vibrant than you may think. And that version of you isn't a distant dream or something that belongs to a future that's too far away to reach. That version is waiting for you right now in the small, seemingly insignificant decisions you make today. Your body is the one place you will always call home. Cherish it, nurture it, and it will repay you in ways you can't even imagine. Take care of it, and it will take care of you. 3. Relationships matter more than anything else. If I could go back and relive my life, my heart would not crave more wealth, more accomplishments, or more material possessions. What I would desperately wish for, above all, is more time. The kind of time that allows you to truly savor each conversation, each laugh shared, each quiet moment with those who matter most. I would want more time with the people I love, the ones who have made the journey worthwhile. When I was younger, I foolishly believed that success, accolades, and material security would be the things that defined me and that would leave a legacy. I worked relentlessly to climb the ladder, to achieve more, and to have the life that others would admire. But as the years slipped away, I began to realize something that hit me like a wave. The things I worked so hard for, the things I thought would bring fulfillment, didn't matter nearly as much as I had imagined. Oh, sure, there were fleeting moments of pride, the new title, the promotion, the comfort of financial security, but they didn't leave me with a deep sense of peace. They didn't fill the empty spaces in my heart. What truly mattered, what stayed with me through it all, were the people who stood by my side. I've been there, sitting beside friends in their final days, holding their hands as they whispered their last thoughts to me. And you know what? Not once, not even once, did I hear them say, "I wish I had spent more time at work," or "I wish I had bought a bigger house." No, what I heard was this: "I wish I had spent more time with my family. I wish I had told my friends how much I love them. I wish I had forgiven more and sooner." I can tell you, with all the sincerity in my heart, that regret is not about the things we did. It's about the love we failed to give, the relationships we allowed to wither, and the moments we were too busy, too distracted, or too proud to fully embrace. We live in a world that constantly elevates independence, self-sufficiency, and the pursuit of individual achievement. But the truth is this: we were never meant to walk through life alone. There is nothing, absolutely nothing, that can replace the simple, beautiful warmth of human connection. The comfort of a hug from your child, the shared history and memories with an old friend, the tender voice of a spouse who has stood by you through it all. Relationships are everything. They are the treasures we don't realize we have until the time begins to slip away. When you think about it, who are the people who have truly known you for decades? Who are the ones who have seen you at your best and your worst yet still choose to love you anyway? Those are the priceless treasures of life, the ones no amount of wealth can ever buy. I look back on my own life and realize I once held onto grudges, believing time would somehow heal the wounds. I thought the resistance would create the space needed for healing. But time, as it turns out, does not heal all wounds. Only love and effort can do that. It's the love you pour into others, the effort you make to stay connected, that will heal what time tries to tear apart. Pride steals years. Anger robs us of precious moments and distance. Distance can slowly but surely take the people you care about most. If I could go back, I would choose forgiveness so much sooner. I couldn't wait for the other person to make the first move. I would be the one to reach out, to make the call, to extend the olive branch. I would say, "Oh, I love you" more often, because love is never something to take for granted or assume others already know. Right now, at this moment, the greatest wealth I have is not in my bank account or in the things I own. It's in the voices that fill my home, in the friends who have stuck around through thick and thin, in the loved ones who still reach out just to check in, to make sure I'm okay. It's in the laughter that rings through the house when we gather together, in the handwritten letters from my grandchildren that bring tears to my eyes, and in the stories and memories shared over a cup of coffee that warms my heart. So, I urge you, from the bottom of my soul, if there's someone in your life you've been holding a grudge against, let it go. If there's someone you miss, don't wait for the perfect moment. Call them now. And if you have love in your heart, don't hold it back. Speak it, say it, and let the people you care about know just how much they mean to you. Life is too short, too fleeting, to wait for someday. It moves faster than we can sometimes comprehend, and before we know it, all we'll have left are the memories of how we made others feel and how they made us feel in return. When our time is over, we won't measure our worth by the material things we accumulated or the career milestones we achieved. We will be measured by the love we gave, the kindness we showed, and the relationships we nurtured. Because when everything else fades, love is the only thing that remains. It is the one thing that transcends time, and it is the one thing that truly matters. For the fear of aging is worse than aging itself. There was a time, oh, how vividly I remember, when I was terrified of aging. It wasn't just the outward signs, the wrinkles, the silver strands of hair, the slower steps, or the creaking of bones that I could feel even on the brightest of days. It wasn't just those physical markers of time's passage. No, it was much deeper than that. The fear gripped my soul, a quiet terror that one day I would lose my place in the world. I would become irrelevant. I would lose my purpose. I would watch time slip through my fingers faster than I could hold on. The thought of it was suffocating. But, oh, how I have come to realize that those fears were nothing but shadows. And now, having lived through years that have gifted me the wisdom only time can provide, I see things so much clearer. Aging is not something to fear. It is a privilege, a sacred journey to honor, to cherish, and, most importantly, to embrace. Looking back, the true tragedy of aging isn't the wrinkles or the gray hairs. No, the real tragedy is spending even a moment of our precious time dreading it. The real loss is in wasting those beautiful years consumed by fear instead of truly living them. When I was younger, I thought aging was the beginning of the end. I envisioned it as a gradual descent, a fading away from the vibrancy of life, a slow and inevitable retreat. But now, as I stand here in this moment, I know with every fiber of my being that aging is not a fade. It is a blossoming. It's not about shrinking away from life, but about deepening our relationship with it. It's about finally seeing the world through eyes that have lived, that have learned, that have grown. Aging allows us to shed the weight of insecurities that once bound us, the suffocating pressures to be more than what we are. And in that freedom, we find clarity. An unmatched clarity that allows us to live fully and with purpose. Aging has been a gift I could never have imagined. It has given me patience, the kind of patience that allows me to sit in silence without feeling the need to fill every moment with noise. It has given me wisdom, the kind of wisdom that helps me see what truly matters in this short, fleeting life. It has given me the courage to let go of what no longer serves me, to release the things and people that only weighed me down. It has granted me a freedom I never knew was possible. The freedom to stop chasing after something that was never meant for me, to stop comparing myself to others, and to stop measuring my worth by society's narrow expectations. And yet, I look around, and I see so many fighting aging as if it were a battle to be won. They slather on creams, dye their hair, and subject themselves to procedures that promise to erase the passage of time, as though erasing the outward signs of aging will somehow halt time itself. But time is not our enemy. No, the true enemy is the belief that we lose our value as we grow older. And that, my friends, is a lie, a dangerous, heartbreaking lie. I've had the honor of meeting people in their 80s and 90s who are more vibrant and alive than some in their 30s, not because they are untouched by the ravages of age, but because they have chosen to embrace it. They've chosen to live with purpose, to laugh and love, to keep learning and exploring. I once knew a woman who took up painting at 78, pouring her soul into every brushstroke. There was a man, too, who began writing poetry at 85, finding beauty in the world that others often overlook. A dear friend of mine, in her 70s, traveled solo for the first time, experiencing a freedom she had only dreamed of in her younger years. These people are living proof that aging does not take away our ability to live fully. No, it is our fear of aging that robs us of that precious gift. The real loss, you see, is not in gaining wrinkles. It is in losing our curiosity, our passion, our fire. The real tragedy is in believing that our best days are behind us instead of knowing in our hearts that the best is yet to come. It is in shrinking our world, hiding in fear, and closing ourselves off to the wonders that still await us. Yes, I have wrinkles now, but they are not mere lines etched in time. They are stories, beautiful, messy, tear-streaked stories that speak of a life lived fully. Each wrinkle tells of laughter shared with friends, of tears shed with loved ones, of experiences that have shaped who I am. My hands, once smooth, are now marked by time, but they have held the hands of those I cherished, built a home, nurtured a family, and created memories that will last long after I'm gone. My body may move a little slower now, but it still carries me through this world, still allows me to witness its beauty, and still offers me the privilege of being present for all that is yet to come. And so, I no longer fear aging. I fear not living. I fear the thought of spending my remaining years wishing I could be younger, wishing I could turn back time. That is the only mistake we can make, the only true regret we must avoid. We must not squander our precious years by longing for something that has passed. Instead, we must embrace the incredible, life-affirming gift of growing older. Aging is not about losing youth. It is about gaining life, the richness, the depth, and the profound beauty that comes with living a full, meaningful life. And with every passing year, I find myself more determined to live each moment with purpose, joy, and gratitude. I intend to live every last bit of it, and I invite you to do the same. 5. The best time to try something new is right now. There was once a time in my life when I thought that new beginnings, exciting changes, and fresh adventures were things only for the young. I believed that after a certain age, life slowed down and became all about routine, about managing what was already built rather than discovering something new. It seemed that the older we got, the less there was left to explore, the fewer chances to chase after something different or try something that might seem outside of our comfort zone. I thought that passions were for the young, dreams were for the ambitious, and that after a certain point life just was. But I was wrong. I could not have been more wrong. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. It was only when I started questioning my own beliefs and daring to look beyond the limits I had unconsciously imposed on myself that I began to understand the truth. The truth is, the only thing that truly limits us is our own belief that it's too late. We tell ourselves that we're too old to start over, too late to begin something new, or too far behind to be a beginner. But the most profound realization I've had in my journey through life is that the moment you decide to start is the moment you prove to yourself that it was ever too late. It's never too late to learn, to grow, to reinvent yourself. I used to think that time was running out, that every year added was another year closer to being too late to pursue my dreams. But when I started seeing the courage in the eyes of older people who had the wisdom to believe that their best years were still ahead of them, I understood. There are people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s who pick up a paintbrush for the first time and discover a talent within them that has been dormant for years. There are people in their 70s who decide to write a book or take up a new instrument, not because they hope to become the next great musician, but because they finally permit themselves to simply enjoy the process. I've seen 80-year-olds fall in love again, start a business, or travel to places they only dreamt of visiting in their youth. I've seen people change their lives at 90, embracing new adventures that most of us would think were reserved for the young. What amazes me, and what I want to shout from the rooftops, is that the idea that age should limit our growth is a lie. It's a lie we've been conditioned to believe, a lie that convinces us to settle when there's so much more to experience, so much more to learn. It's a lie that tells us it's too late, that stifles curiosity, that dampens the flame of possibility within us. There's no law, no rule, no expiration date that says we must stop dreaming once we hit a certain age. There's no reason why curiosity should stop after retirement, or why trying something new should be restricted to only the young. Yet, despite this truth, I see so many people hesitate, so many people doubt themselves. They worry about looking foolish, failing, or not being as quick or sharp as they once were. But I want to remind you, growth isn't about being the best at something. It's about being better than you were yesterday. It's about stretching yourself, expanding your mind, and permitting yourself to be a beginner, to stumble, to learn. It's about the joy of discovery, not the fear of failure. I once spoke with a man in his mid-60s who had always dreamed of playing the piano but had convinced himself he was too old to start. "What's the point?" he said. "By the time I get good, I'll be in my late 70s. So I asked him, "And how old will you be if you never learn?" "Time will pass, no matter what. The years will come and go, whether we spend them chasing dreams or letting them slip by. So, how do you want to spend your time? Do you want to look back with regret, wishing you had started? Or do you want to look forward with excitement, knowing that every day holds the potential to learn, to grow, to experience something new?" I used to think that the best time to start something was when I was younger, when I had more energy, when the world felt like it was waiting for me. But now, I know the truth. The best time to start is right now. Not yesterday. Not tomorrow. Right now. Because the only thing standing between you and the life you still want to live is the decision to take that first step. It's not about waiting for the right moment. It's about making this moment the right one. The truth is, it's never too late. Every day, every breath we take, is another opportunity to start anew. So, what are you waiting for? The best time to try something new is right now. 6. Let go of what you can't control. For so many years, I carried the weight of burdens that were never meant for my shoulders. I would lie awake at night, consumed with worry about a future I couldn't predict, replaying mistakes from my past, clutching onto anger for things that were long gone. I tried to control everything, to make everything fit within the confines of my rigid plans, to force the world to bend to my will. I believed with all my heart that if I just planned hard enough, worried long enough, or tried with enough force, I could somehow keep everything in order. I thought that if I held on tightly enough, with enough desperation, I could make things turn out exactly the way I imagined them to be. But life, with its infinite wisdom, has a way of humbling us, doesn't it? It has a way of gently whispering truths we refuse to hear until we're brought to our knees, teaching us the most painful lessons we could ever learn. That control is, in the end, nothing more than an illusion. It doesn't matter how many late nights we spend worrying or how much we exhaust ourselves trying to micromanage every detail. No matter how hard we try, there will always be things beyond our reach, things we cannot change, no matter how tightly we hold on. A loved one will leave, and no amount of tears or pleading can bring them back. A plan that you've spent years carefully crafting will fall apart in an instant. A door you were relying on will slam shut, leaving you standing in the dark, wondering where it all went wrong. And in those moments, no amount of worry or regret can fix a single thing. I spent years of my life stressing over things that, in the end, were never mine to control. People's opinions, the choices of others, the endless flow of time, and the way life unfolded in ways I could never have expected. The past, forever frozen in place despite my desperate attempts to rewrite it, was one of the heaviest burdens of all. And then, one day, in a moment of raw clarity, I realized something. The weight I had been carrying wasn't heavy because life was unfair or cruel. It was heavy because I refused to set it down. I had been holding on to what wasn't mine to carry, drowning myself in burdens that were never meant for me. We all spend so much of our lives resisting the reality of what is. We fight against the current of life, bending it to our will, trying to change the unchangeable. But all we get in return is exhaustion, bitterness, and a deep sense of futility when the world doesn't cooperate. But here's the painful truth. Life is not meant to be a battle against what we cannot control. Life, in its beautiful, unpredictable chaos, is meant to be embraced, to be lived fully, even in the uncertainty, even in the discomfort. Letting go does not mean that we stop caring. It doesn't mean we give up or surrender our passions. Letting go means we choose peace over resistance. It means we learn to recognize what is ours to change and what is simply beyond our reach. It means we trust, deeply trust, that even in the most uncertain of times, life will work itself out, as it always does. I remember once hearing someone say that worrying is like carrying an umbrella every day, waiting for rain. It struck me with such force. How often do we carry stress, anxiety, and fear for things that may never even happen? How many precious moments of our lives do we waste worrying about things that are completely beyond our control instead of simply living freely, without the burden of imagined catastrophes? If I could go back to that younger version of myself, I would tell her, set down the weight, my love. Set it down. Let go of the things that drain your peace. Forgive faster, love deeper, and learn to accept what is. Trust that you are strong enough to handle whatever life may throw your way. Trust that, no matter how things unfold, you will find a way to be okay. And if you're still carrying burdens that don't belong to you, I hope you find the courage to let them go, to set yourself free. Your heart deserves peace, and life deserves to be lived. 7. The small moments were always the big moments. We spend so much of our lives running after the big moments, those milestones we believe will define our happiness. We convince ourselves that it's the promotions, the dream vacations, the new house, or the grand accomplishments that will bring us lasting fulfillment. We wait for them, yearning for that elusive moment when we'll be able to say, I've made it. But as I look back now, with the benefit of age and reflection, I see the truth that, at the time, I couldn't grasp. It was never the grand moments that truly mattered. It was the small ones, the ones I barely noticed at the time, that held the most beauty and meaning. It wasn't the accolades or the achievements that filled my heart with warmth, but the feel of my child's small hand nestled in mine as we crossed the street, a quiet exchange of love. It wasn't the vacations I took or the places I visited, but the way laughter echoed through the kitchen on a Sunday afternoon, filling the house with joy and creating memories that, even now, I hold close. It wasn't the material successes or the titles I earned, but the gentle hum of my mother as she prepared meals, the sound of love woven into every dish, every stir of the pot. Those moments, as simple as they seemed, were what life was truly made of. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. We don't see it when we're in them, do we? When we're young, we rush through life, believing those small moments are just ordinary, that the best days are still ahead of us, just waiting for us to reach them. We race toward what we think will bring us joy, only to realize too late that this very moment, right here, right now, was the one we should have cherished. The truth is, life doesn't pause, and it certainly doesn't wait for us to figure it all out. It's unfolding in front of us, one fleeting moment at a time, and so often, we don't see it until it's already gone. I've been by the bedsides of those in their final days, and I can tell you what they talk about. It's not their career wins or the money they earned. It's not their promotions or their big moments that linger in their memories. What matters most to them are the moments they thought were too small to notice. The way their partner looked at them across the dinner table, with eyes full of love and history. They remember their children's laughter filling the house, an echo of warmth and connection. They recall the way they lay in the grass on a lazy summer afternoon with no agenda, no rush, just the comfort of being in the moment together. These are the memories that matter most in the end. It's a sobering realization, isn't it? The things we chase, the things we think will define us, often turn out to be fleeting. And so, I've stopped waiting. I no longer waste time thinking the best moments are yet to come. Instead, I choose to live in the now. I take the time to appreciate the way the afternoon light spills through the window, the way it dances across the room and casts shadows that speak of the passage of time. I savor the phone calls, the simple text messages, the visits from friends and family that I once might have taken for granted. I sit a little longer, listen a little more intently, and land over a little deeper. Because one day, these seemingly ordinary moments will be all I have, and I want to make sure I don't miss them. If you're still waiting for happiness to come to you, thinking it lies somewhere in the future, I urge you to stop. Just stop. Take a look around you. Happiness isn't something we catch in the distance. It's already here, wrapped up in the little things we overlook. One day, you'll look back and realize those small, fleeting moments weren't small at all. They were the very essence of life, the ones that truly made it worth living. This is your time, right here. Don't wait for the perfect moment to live. Don't wait for the future to be happy or for the past to stop haunting you. There is no perfect moment, no ideal time to start living. All we have is now. Life is always moving, with or without us. It doesn't wait for us to be ready, for our fears to subside, or for us to figure it all out. And before we know it, years have slipped by. The opportunities we once had are gone. The people we love have grown older. And we are left with nothing but memories of moments we could have savored but didn't. But here's the beautiful truth I've learned. It's never too late to start. It's never too late to love, to forgive, to let go, to embrace the life you have now. If there's one thing I've learned from the people I've met on my journey, it's that we are never too old to live fully, to dream, to laugh, to grow. The greatest tragedy isn't aging. It's reaching the end of your life only to realize you never truly lived. So, don't wait any longer. Don't waste another moment wishing for a different time or a different life. Open your heart, open your hands, and embrace the life you have right now. When the time comes to look back, you won't care about the things you feared, the judgments you carried, or the things you couldn't control. You'll remember the love, the laughter, the moments that made life rich, whether big or small. The kindness you gave and the kindness you received. That is what life is about. And that is all we need. As we wrap up today's reflection, I want to ask you, what have you learned so far? Think about the moments that have shaped your life, the small ones that you might have overlooked before. What are some lessons that stood out to you in this video? And most importantly, which one of these lessons will you bring into your life today? I'd love for you to share one thing in the comments below that you plan to practice and embrace moving forward. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support means the world, and together, we can make every moment count. Thank you for being here.